Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Futurecast number 2. It's the Future Vision website on Facebook. That's www.facebook.com/futurevision. That's FUTUREVZN. And I am the editor, owner, director, John Freeman. And today I have a special guest. This is DC Baldwin of DC Baldwin Design in Nashville, Tennessee. DC, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, John. How are you?
Fantastic. And so what's new in your world?
Oh, not much. The same old thing. Just trying to stay busy. And I like to say, just getting older, balder, and fatter.
Yeah. Well, you just described me. Hey, fantastic. The nice thing is they can't see you. They can only see me, so they think you're talking about me, which is fine.
Oh, no. I'm in myself, man.
And like I was saying, anyways, everybody, this is Futurecast number 2. Doing a little test here, and we've got DC Baldwin as our interviewee. And DC and I go back a good while. How many years now has it been? Probably
maybe
early 90s?
Yeah, maybe 1989, 90, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there, something like that. We both went to the same church together. That's how we met. I was playing in a Christian band at the time, and they were no good. No, they were good. They were okay. We were okay.
Oh, man, great.
And DC was a guitar player, and were you playing in some bands back then? I mean, were you doing some stuff?
No, not really anything.
I know you were doing the university thing.
Yeah, I was just at Mobile College. Just a little.
That's right, but that was a pretty big group, though, wasn't it?
Well, they got to be pretty big. We kind of started it. They were just a ensemble that recruited kids for the music program, and we played high schools, churches, all different kinds of places, and traveled all over Alabama doing that.
Right.
So it was fun, but that's what I was doing as far as playing wise back then, and just goofing around, learning all the metal licks I could learn.
Right, that's right. Actually, yeah, both of us were playing, and I guess I don't know. We were kind of metal pop. I don't think we were real metal. I mean, you were probably a whole lot more ahead of the game as far as that went.
Yeah,
as far as chops and things like that.
It was all fun though.
That's right. And then we met later on. We were playing in a youth group. Started collaborating together, and with actually another buddy of ours that lives in Nashville, Mike Murray, and then we started playing around Southeast a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And but at the same time, DC was also he was an artist, and he's a very good actual portrait artist, and a really great graphic artist, and that's the main reason why I have him on the show for 2 reasons. Number one, he's a great guitar player. He understands the Nashville scene, and he's a great graphic artist. So,
well, thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, well, hey, it's the truth. Let's go into the music background. I know. How did you get your start in music? Actually, in the very beginning, like, what was your first thing? 5, 6, 7, whatever you were. What was the first thing you did?
Just like everybody does. Just looking for some kind of outlet creatively, and I wasn't really big enough to play sports other than baseball, and I really didn't get along with anybody that was involved there. So some of the friends I had were into playing guitar and other instruments, so I just kind of gravitated to that area, and that's kind of what started it all. It's just having something to do after school and something to get involved in, and then it kind of took off from there.
Now, would you call yourself? Were you a person who practiced constantly to get better, or did you feel like you had enough talent to kind of carry you, and then your practice from your talent kind of carried you forward? Which kind of way did you go?
Well, when I first started playing, it was just, I really didn't know what I was doing. I took a little bit just to know chords and how to get around the fretboard a little bit. But when I started hearing the early hair bands and the 80s era, that's kind of what influenced me, like Van Halen and some of the other uh, hair bands like that, like Rat, and then um, Dokken and George Lynch and some of that stuff. I always was fascinated into that, but I never really knew what I was doing. And then once I heard this band, they came out, Racer X, and I heard these guys
Right.
play, and I was just blown away. And I just kind of, it's when it all turned around there for me. And I, uh, I said a little prayer, and I said, you know, God, if you'll teach me to help me learn or teach me to play like that, I'll use my talent for you. And so that's kind of what happened. So after I graduated, I didn't go to college the first year. All I did was sit around and practice, and I learned how to do what they were doing. And I would use opportunities when I would play, and people would say, "Wow, that's awesome!" Because back then nobody was doing anything like that. Everybody was playing Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan, which was cool, but that really wasn't my thing. So when they heard that, it was different, and they wanted to know about it, and that gave me an opportunity to share my faith and my experience and how I came to be able to play that. So that's
Right.
kind of where I got started there.
So was that Racer X? Was that George Lynch?
No, no, that George Lynch was Doc and
That
Paul
that's
Gilbert,
right. That's right. That's right. Okay.
yeah, who later went on to be in Mr. Big, and,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
that's where he was really got famous.
That's that. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I wasn't, I wasn't a big metal person. That was the only scene that we had where I grew up in South Mississippi. Of course, you were over there in Alabama. And I'm just thinking, I'm thinking back about, I didn't know any of these groups. I mean, I learned them over time, and then by the time I met you, I kind of knew a little bit about what was going on. But um, and the reason why I bring that up is because this is what's going to happen to most of you out there if you're into music, or even if you're wanting to be a graphic artist or a videographer or whatever. You're going to work with people that don't, they're not into what you're into, and you kind of have to, you have to kind of meld what you do together, because there's very few times when you can just get exactly the same people around you that like exactly what you do. And it's just really tough. I mean, can you talk about that? Like, because I know you, uh, then you started playing in bands and things, and also with your graphic art, you had to collaborate. And, well, just like you said in the very
Yeah,
beginning, when you did, Mobile uh, College.
yeah, it was that was Mobile College was kind of like I guess a learning, um, big learning, um, playing live and learning mostly what I didn't want to do. It was just a good way to get out and play in front of people and just different things like that. But as far as like what you're talking about collaborating, a lot of times in situations in life, you're gonna be around people that don't necessarily like what you do or in or understand what you do or whatever. And part of being successful is being able to get in there and make what you do work, whether it's your design or whether it's your music or your video editing or what sales or whatever. You go in there and do what you do the best you can, and people will respect that. And that's kind of has been my motto. I'm not the most successful person in the world. If you look at success as playing on a big stage in front of thousands of people, but I've done a lot of cool things, and I've worked with a lot of cool clients graphically, and all that's been because I've been able to go in and put my feelings aside and do what's best for the project. And that's what you got to learn to do. Is, yeah, you're a designer, or yeah, you're a guitarist or a musician or whatever, But what is best for as the sci-fi people and those people like say for the greater good, what is going to help the bigger picture, and that's what you have to do. Figure out what you can do to help that, and that'll kind of get you in the door and into more opportunities.
I agree with that. It seems that you start out, you can't help this, but we all start off with selfish ambition to a degree, which is kind of I mean, it's a bad thing, obviously, but it's what we do. I mean, you're a teenager, you start thinking about what you want to, you start portraying yourself on stage, if it's on stage or wherever it is you want to be, that area that you want to be as a professional. You see yourself, and then of course later on you have to collaborate, work with other people, do things like you said. There's things I don't want to do, or I'm doing this and I realize this is not my thing, and but that does force you to learn your craft, and also kind of forces you to, hey, I'm not just in this for me. This is about the group or other people than just myself. And if then you, like you said, you find out that if you're helping others with your talent because it's a natural outreach of yourself, not only does it help them, it helps you further along. And like you said, success is not millions of dollars or whatever. We success is just walking through life and moving forward in that craft that you have. And yes, you're going to get paid for it, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go on a little bit further in your life. Later on, we met, of course, doing the youth group thing.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of which, and I'm not going to lie about this, and I don't want anybody, I want you to know the truth. When I was playing in the quote unquote youth group thing, at that time period, I had left, I was doing the kind of local bar scene, whatever. And at that time I was trying to find a different way. I just gone through a bad relationship and all that stuff. And creatively, you tend to, if you're like me, then you write out a lot of things. Did you feel that you're in that kind of time period? Did you feel yourself starting to, change your style? Were you coming into a style? Maybe you had some hardships or things go on that kind of took you in a new direction, or were you pretty much, on that same line of, like you said, Racer X and just kind of going forward?
Well, not really then. I didn't really think about anything like that until after I came up here and went to Belmont, and everybody was impressed and everybody said, "Oh, that's really cool." Because you got to think, then a lot of guys can do that nowadays, but back then not many people could. So
right,
it was cool to see and to hear other people do it, but you didn't get many gigs unless you were going to do something original or whatever. And a good friend of mine made a comment. He said, "Yeah, that's good, but you're not going to get many sessions, or you're not going to get many gigs doing that." And he said, "Well, you need to listen to somebody like Dan Huff or Steve Lukather or Michael Landau.
right,
All those guys, they can shred and they can do all that crazy stuff, but they have more of a pop or a soul feel." And so then I started understanding that, well, yeah, it's good to know how to do a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, you got to appeal to a bigger picture, and you got to be able to um, do more than just one thing. So and that applies to graphics and music and whatever you do in life. You got to do what you do, but you got to be able to make that work within wherever you land or wherever you end up. So
right.
I don't know if that answers your question, but the mainly, I changed because I wanted to get more opportunities and I wanted to do more things. And when I got the advice of, hey, listen to these guys and what they're doing, that really kind of opened things up for me. And it's just always good to have an open mind and to be able to take constructive criticism, or even when you get criticized, you can't be too tied up into what you do that you can't be willing to change, because change makes you better and change makes you grow. So you got to
Right.
be willing to accept it if someone doesn't like what you do or they don't appreciate what you do. Don't take it personally. Just be better. Just get better.
Right. Right. So let's see. Okay, so this is the time period in Nashville. You were going to school at Belmont,
Yeah.
and Belmont. Tell everybody a little bit about Belmont if they don't know what that is.
Um,
It's kind of oriented towards arts, isn't it?
well, it's more known for its music school,
Okay.
um, which is the Mike Curve and business and all that. You get a lot of people going there from to get connected in the music industry, but it's tough because everybody's wanting to do the same thing. So it's a good opportunity because you can learn a lot, but at the end of the day, you can't go in expecting that just because I go here, I'm going to get a job or I'm going to get a gig. Yeah, you're going to have a good chance, but it doesn't mean you know anything. Nobody owes you anything. You just got to do what you do and do it the best you can. And if it works out, that's awesome. But if it doesn't, at least you gave it 100%. And that's what I tell people when I meet them and I find out they're going there. It's just learn as much as you can and do what you do the best you can do. And Belmont will give you an opportunity to do that. I went up there, for music, but I was taking some art classes, and the instructor in the art class said, "Hey, I think you'd be good at graphic design, so why don't you take a course and see what you think?" And sure enough, I took the course and I loved it, so I changed my major to graphic design, and that's what got me going. And then I met somebody who worked at Kinko's before it was FedEx Kinko's, and they actually had a design department in there, and I got a job working in their design department, and that was my first job here in Nashville, was working at Kinko's, and it was really good. I learned a lot there, and met a lot of people, and some of those people I'm still friends with today, and that was back in 1998. So it was good. And rewinding a little bit, that was all because I went to Belmont and kept in contact and had a good attitude and worked hard and tried to be the best I could.
Right. Right. And I guess also that I guess you could say that that had to do with your desire to play at the first. You
Yeah.
gained more skills as time went on, and like you say, you probably wouldn't have if that instructor you hadn't talked to that instructor,
Right.
you wouldn't have gone towards the graphic arts. So
Well, and that's another thing too. I mean, music is a hard business, and not everybody's going to make it big. A lot of bands and people you see, they're not living luxurious lifestyles. They're doing other things. A lot of these guys that are out playing with these big bands, they're playing with five, maybe six other bands, and they're doing sessions and they're doing all this other kind of stuff to make ends meet. And some of them have wives that work so they can go out and play, or they have families that have a lot of money that where they can afford to do things like that.
right.
But it's not what it's cracked up to be in that sense. It's kind of like winning the lottery. Um,
Yeah.
you know, the chances are slim, and but it's all about who you know, and it's about getting connected. So anybody that thinks, well, man, I'm really good, yeah, that's awesome, but there's 1,000 people in this town that are as good or better than you are. So you got to really bring everything to the table, and you got to be prepared to um, hear no and keep going. So
You're right. That's it's funny because both of us share that experience in that we let music kind of be the vehicle to take us in different directions. I
hmm
never would have gotten into video production if it hadn't been for those early times, even playing, with you and
yeah,
Mike and
yeah,
and all the things that we've done. Um, it's funny how all these little things just kind of fall right into the next thing, the next skill that you're wanting to learn. And like you said, if you're the thing that you really love, you're going to desire to learn more. Um, and you're going to discover over time other things that you didn't realize you loved a lot. Um, can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know you've spent a number of years now in Nashville, and like you said, I think this is funny. I got to bring this back up. Um, Somebody asked me recently, man. Well, they kind of made a statement, man. I can't wait till I can get out on the road and be like these people that we dream about. And the first thing I said, because I remember some of your experiences and some of my minor experiences, I said, well, do you love the smell of diesel fuel? And do you like no sleep because you're going to be riding on a bus with a bunch of other guys? And do you mind not, washing your clothes like every day? You cool
Yeah.
with that? Because that's the smells and the sights and the sound. Now, if you like playing video games late at night after you got the ringing in your ears, you're perfect for this. And I'm not knocking that because look, we all dream of those great things and you want to go forward. Um, but can you tell me a little bit about some of the other people you played with and and go a little bit further in that experience of, hey, look, you got to have some other avenues. Um, and yes, try as hard as you can and go for the, the brass ring, whatever, but
Yeah.
have some other, you know, other things to do. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Well, I've done a lot of cool things. The highlight, I guess, was opening up for ZZ Top up in the
Yeah.
UP. It was a really, really fun experience. And we, the band I was playing with at the time, got 3 standing ovations and encores, and they wanted us to keep playing, and we just didn't have enough material to keep playing. It was pretty funny. We only had about 10 songs, and I think we played um, some songs 2 or 3 times just because they kept wanting us to play, and it was pretty amazing. And I got to
Right.
meet Billy Gibbons, who is a fantastic person, very humble guy, and just so cool. And that was really good. But there's been a lot of things that weren't glorious, and you're thinking they're going to be good, and they're not. And you get out there and people are one way when you're hanging out with them, but when they get out there on the road, they're totally different. And sometimes for the better, and sometimes for the worse. So it's unless you're on one of those big gigs like playing for Taylor Swift or some other pop star or some big country act or whatever, it's not very glorious, and people aren't making what you think they're making. So it's
Yeah.
definitely kind of fool's gold in one sense, but if you're doing it because you love to do it, then some of that stuff doesn't really matter. But it's
Right.
just a bonus. If you do hit it big, it's a definite bonus. So it's 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 I don't know the word I'm looking for, but if you want to do it, go for it and try it and
Right.
you learn what you do and be good at what you do. Know how to play what you play 20 different ways, and be able to get up in any situation and play confidently and play your best. But at the same time, you got to have something else that you fall back on and that you can do if that doesn't work out. So say you're trying to be a graphic artist and that doesn't work, then what are you going to do? Or if you're trying to be a musician, or if you're trying to be a lawyer,
Right. Right.
whatever, what else are you going to do if things don't work out? So you got to have a backup plan. So that's kind of, I've been lucky that I've had 2 talents that work for me. Um,
Right.
so that's what I was thinking the whole time. But getting back a little bit to what you were saying about playing, it's you just gotta be ready because you never know what opportunity you're going to get, and you got to be willing to do some things that may not be ideal, that may get you somewhere else you want to go. So it's definitely a challenge, but if you're hungry and you got the desire and you're going to work hard, you can turn it into something good.
Right. Right. Um, Now, speaking of which, right now, I guess I would say we're going through kind of a revolution about information technology. You know, we've been doing this for a while now. I remember when you and I were in Nashville. Um, I remember when it was it called the GMAC? That was a big deal. You were talking about the Kinko's thing.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember the first time you showed me that computer, and I was like, you know, eyes get this big, and you're like, man, you know, I can't afford this because it cost a fortune back then. And now we're using computer systems, and actually, DC made me a Mac fanatic, unfortunately, in some respects.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I remember when you were up there building all your computers over there at Turtle Creek.
That's right.
You were building all those crazy PCs. That was good old days.
You were like, yeah, man, keep that up, but you need to you need to get a Mac.
Yeah. So you need to check them out.
What's so funny though is that, you know, we're laughing about this, but back then, you know, the first software that I kind of got introduced to was from a few engineers up there in Nashville, a few recording engineers, and they told me to. I think it was Acid. I think was the first software that I ever used,
Oh yeah.
and you know, it was kind of like a sampling software type thing. But now everything is so instantaneous, and the young artist out there that maybe is watching this and listening to this, you know, because you have a graphic arts now background, and this has taken years to develop. Also, you're playing. I mean, you had skill in the beginning. I remember. I can attest to this. You know, you were already way ahead of the game. But then, like you said, you got to Nashville. You started learning from other people. Um, Actually, what didn't you take from Victor Wooten's brother?
Yeah, Reggie Wooten.
Yeah, Reggie Wooten. That's right.
Took some lessons from him, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, but can you talk a little bit about, since you know the graphics now and you understand the importance of even social media, like what we're doing right now on Facebook, how an artist today could promote themselves, whereas when we were trying to do it, I remember when you were doing our first graphics just for our group. I mean, I thought it was fantastic. I'm like, wow, look at this. You know, now people, I don't think they realize that how much they could learn from somebody like you that could teach them really quickly, you know, how to come up with something today to promote themselves. And just like we're doing on this Futurecast, how to use Facebook and video and graphics and how to promote yourself. How would you do that today if you were, say you're 17, 18, 19, 20, you know, your early 20s, whatever, and you're trying to get out there today with your talent? What would you do now?
Man, I mean, if we had these tools available when we were doing it, wow, there's no telling where we would be. YouTube, especially videos like what we're doing here, except for my stupid video computer doesn't work.
No, it makes you look like the interesting, like we've got some kind of background CIA type thing going on. I can't show your face. You know, you're an important person. You don't want to let everybody know where you are. You know, this is great.
I don't want to break their cameras. But no, it's just amazing. If we had YouTube, holy cow! I mean, we practice a lot, but I know that if we had YouTube, we probably would have recorded stuff like 100 times and made it as perfect as we could have made it. We'd have had all these crazy things going on. I mean, there's just no telling. I really, truly believe that if we would have had that back then, we would have gotten a lot further. The thing that killed us was money for advertising and money to play, and that's another thing. You know, a lot of times to get on these big tours with people, you got to have money to buy yourself onto these tours and to be able to open up, play maybe 20 or 30 minutes if you're lucky. But if we would have had all this stuff going on like Reverb and YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat and Periscope, all that stuff, I think people would have been wanting us to come play and not asking us to pay. And
Right.
It's just amazing. So I would definitely do that. You know, film yourself and see what you look like, and make sure you look good, and make sure you you got your stuff down. And I'd be all over this stuff.
Yeah, I was saying in the first podcast that we did, basically now this.
Yeah,
I mean, the iPhone 6 Plus. This is what I've got. Of course, the iPhone 7 blows everything away right now.
yeah,
I mean, as far as video goes, and even imaging, everything you can do in a studio, you can do with this
yeah.
device.
It's amazing.
Whereas, in the past, I mean, and I'm just talking just a few years ago, we're talking this. You
Yeah,
had to have this,
yeah,
some kind of camera, some kind of XLR setup to get your audio and video out. And now we're talking about using a phone.
yeah. It's pretty amazing.
With the iPhone 7, you got two camera lenses. One is I mean, they're both, they're pro optics in the cameras lenses, and you got a telephoto lens. I mean, anyways, as far as camera work goes, graphics, what would you do? Do you think that you should work on an image today if you're a young artist, since you have all this, social media and all these different ways to get out, YouTube and everything? Do you think that these young artists should work on their image, or should they just do like the old school, like we did, work on your talent, and then uh, get somebody to help you do that? Or do you think it's a combination of both? Should they be doing both at the same time?
Well, I think probably both, but maybe try to find somebody that can mentor you. Somebody that's been there that can give you some pointers and check out what you're doing and help you out. And there's a kid right now that's opening up for a huge act. I don't want to say any names, but I mean, he is playing in front of thousands and thousands of people. And he comes up to this business, and he's wearing clothes that looks like he just went to the thrift store last night, which I guess is
Right.
cool. But
Right.
he's got on an old T-shirt and some bell-bottom pants, and I'm sitting there going, "That's been done already. That's somebody's already done that." And some of the other guys, we were talking about it, and we were saying, "Man, you got this opportunity where you're playing in front of all these people, and you could really promote yourself and be yourself and develop your own persona instead of doing something that's already been done." And sure, yeah, he's doing something huge that I never got to do, and that most people I know have never got to do. But at the same time, when he gets done doing that, well, yeah, you opened up for that band and you did all that, but now what? So
Right.
I think that's where it comes into where the question is, if you had somebody that could sit there and help you and point you in the right direction, yeah, you're doing good, but how far and how much better would you be doing if you had somebody helping
Right. Right. That's right. Exactly. That's why, like you and I right now, um, other people in our members group, we're collaborating all the time because you're never too old to learn something new. And I think we've said that earlier in this future cast. And also, this is the time, unlike any other time, um, as long as you're not lazy, laziness will kill you.
you? Yeah,
But if you can plan out your day and you're an artist and you can write down a few things, or type it in your notes or whatever on your phone, but just have a couple of goals you need to accomplish through that day. Like you said, this guy in Nashville who's just kind of killing it. I mean, he can build his own audience on his own terms. It isn't like it was in the past where you had to, like you said, you had to meet a lot of people, you had to find the right niche, and you had to pursue. And if those people had the money, because we sure didn't have the money,
yeah,
then they would support you. And it may not be even in the thing that you really love to do, which we also talked about. You're gonna go through things where you're doing things and you're like, I don't really, this is not who I am. And if you're really truly who you are, you're going to sell yourself, because it's not a sell. It's, this is me. And if people love that, especially now, niche audience, I mean, they can take care of you monetarily, and you can still do your art or the service that you want to put out there.
right.
So, talk a little bit about. Well, actually, let's do this. I'm going to show everybody your website real quick. Do a little quick screen share here, and here's DC's site. DC Baldwin. You can find him. Just type in dcbaldwindesign.com. He does art direction, web design, and consulting. And you can tell right here. You can kind of see what he looks like, although he's still trying to hide behind the black screen back there.
Yeah, you can just go to the About page.
There you go. All right, About page. There we go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, tell everybody just a little bit. How long did it take you to put this site together?
About 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. It probably did take you 20 minutes, where it would take me 2 weeks.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
It took a little while, just trying to figure out how I wanted things to look, and you can read on the site about that caricature, but the whole point in design is being able to take whatever the client gives you and make something awesome out of it. And that's what I decided to do with that. I kept thinking, what am I going to do for a logo? What am I going to come up with? And that was the hardest part, is trying to figure out what I wanted to say. And I think that pretty much says everything about me. I got a good sense of humor. I love cutting up, and at the end of the day, I want to do something awesome. And,
right.
That's kind of why I did that. And if people look at that and they don't get it, then I may not be the best option for those people. But if you understand that, hey, I can take whatever you give me and make something cool out of it, then I think we can work together just fine. But after you figure out kind of where you want to go, it usually takes about three weeks, maybe. I usually tell people 30 to 45 days, maybe sooner, depending on when I get all the content. Sometimes I can knock it out really quick. Other times it takes a while. And it really depends on, what kind of site. If it's a simple site like that, if it's an e-commerce site, if it's informational site, it could take longer. But that site probably took me, about a couple of weeks. Knock that out once I figured out what I wanted to do, because there's not a lot in it.
Right.
Just, it took about 2 weeks.
Is there, how about anything in your portfolio you like to show off, or?
No, hopefully people can get an idea. I mean,
okay, I'm not going to go to that because I don't want to put you on the spot or anything.
There's nothing groundbreaking there, but hopefully people can see that I did what the client needed and made it look as good as I could.
Right.
I'm well versed in a lot of different areas, and I like working with medical stuff. I like working music stuff. So whatever it may be, give me a call, and or shoot me an email, and we can set up a call, and I can help you out.
Yeah. What is your email address again?
It's just real easy. It's dcbaldwindesign@gmail.com.
And do you want to give out a phone number, or do you want to kind of just rather than go to the email?
No, my Cricket service isn't working real well right now, so
okay.
It's kind of that was a joke.
I know.
Yeah, just give them, if they want to go ahead. I don't have a 800 number or anything, but if they want to shoot me an email, I can get them some contact information where they call me.
Okay. No sweat. Actually, let me see. Yeah, very cool. What I was going to say is that, DC's being very modest. He actually has had some very high-end clients, and he is not cheap. I will tell you that. But I know that if you get in touch with him, he will try his best to make you a great site and a great offer, or whatever you're trying to do. He's actually done things for me in the past, and it has helped me. I can tell you 100,000%. Getting business that I needed. So there you go.
Thanks,
yeah. And actually, while we're at it, we might as well do all the commercials while we're here. Just to let you know that this is Future Vision, and you can go to facebook.com/FutureVision, FUTUREVZN, and we are right now on the weekly podcast. And all you do is just click on the YouTube link, and it will open up the podcast. The podcast is at 4 p.m. Central Time on Monday, and you can hear that going on right now. Also, just to let you know, we also have a Future Vision group, and DC is a part of this group, and other professionals that I trust in the business, whether they're drummers, bass players, guitar players, graphic artists, full-fledged video producers, photographers, and other people. If you'd like to join that group, it is a pay group. The reason why we do that, we like to keep the yahoos out and the trolls and other people. It doesn't cost you a lot. It's $1 for 1 month. You can try it out. Like I say, just go to facebook.com/ you can type in groups, Future Vision Group. That's FUTUREVZN group in Facebook. And but anyways, DC, really cool, man, to talk to you.
John.
We've had a long history, and we actually we threaten this all the time. We still have a lot of old songs and things that we've done that we want to revamp, and we hope to get some of that material out pretty soon again. And DC also does one-on-one consulting. So if you'd like to talk with him on a chat similar to this and get him to help you one-on-one, he can, just contact him again on that email, and he will help you out.
Yes, sir.
And so that's pretty much it for today, Futurecast number 2. I'm John Freeman, and we've had our guest today, DC Baldwin. And let me bring that back up one more time just so you can see. That's going to be dcbaldwindesign.com. That's dcbaldwindesign.com. And you can also reach him. What's your email address again?
dcbaldwindesign@gmail.com.
That's it. And man, again, I really appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. Anytime, John.
And we'll talk again. Hopefully, I'm trying to get DC to do some guitar amp, guitar, and guitar pedal reviews for you, because let me tell you, I know he's being all modest and stuff, but he's an expert at this kind of stuff. He can he actually works and designs for a shop there in Nashville. That's a shop for exclusive artists, people that come there all the time from all over, and they buy their gear and their pedal gear and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to come up to Nashville and film him, and he's going to give you his take on a few things, some pedals and maybe some vintage amps and things like that. But we'll get that together pretty soon. And thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you on the next Futurecast next Monday, 4 p.m. All right. See you later.